Welcome to TV Trash. I'm Cecil Felicitas.
And I'm Perkins Persnickety.
As charter members of the National Alliance of Felines, we are tired of how cats are stereotyped in entertainment.
It's bad enough that we're always portrayed as lazy, selfish, and rude, but to make matters worse, too many cartoons out there accuse us of being evil because we chase and eat mice.
And one cartoon series is more guilty of pushing this propaganda above all others. Tom and Jerry!
Yeah, we know you humans look upon Tom and Jerry as legends among animated characters, but try to look at it from our perspective. To us, these are the equivalent of those old cartoons featuring people in blackface. Okay, so apparently these characters are the creations of two guys named William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, and we may be cheating for a show about reviewing television because it appears a lot of these cartoon shorts first aired in movie theaters. Still, they've since re-aired in numerous TV incarnations, so we're using that loophole to make our cause be heard.
The Tom and Jerry shorts, like most cartoons made before the 1980s, really have no continuity to one another, but the basic premise of each is very similar. Each story revolves around a Felis domesticus named Tom, whose mission is to rid his house and home of a small, disease-ridden, filth-spreading pest named Jerry. And somehow, this makes him the villain.
Of course, because no one wants a cat to actually get rid of the mice in their house, right?
Really, whose idea was it that in this type of confrontation, the mouse should be considered the good guy when he steals food from the house and likely does other things they can't show to keep these shorts G-rated?
Because it's not like mice and rats have ever been a threat to humanity or anything. Do the words Black Plague mean anything to you? And for the record, Tom wasn't even trying to kill Jerry because he necessarily wanted to. He was under orders to do so. Yes, he was always being berated by the woman of the house to get rid of Jerry.
Thomas! Get in here, big boy, and get this mouse!
Let's compare it to another favorite series of cartoon shorts to prove we're fair. Sylvester the cat was actively chasing another household pet in Tweety Bird. He was going against his owner's wishes because he couldn't suppress his carnal urges. We may not like that stereotype either, but at least it makes more sense.
And by the way, even though humans have no problem stereotyping us, nowadays they seem to have issues with stereotyping each other, particularly when it comes to race. All these shorts featuring this angry black woman whose face we never see, don't expect to see them on TV ever again, and the DVD collections that include them have these disclaimers that basically say, don't blame us, we're not the racist pricks who thought these up.
What's really frustrating is that in many cases, Jerry's the instigator. Not only does he frequently cause trouble, it's often to frame Tom and get him in trouble. Like this one, where he makes Tom break a whole bunch of dishes. And what's worse is that he then runs right in front of the woman and she can't see him and take the hint. Lady, open your eyes!
And as if one mouse isn't enough, they have to throw in a second, bringing in his nephew, who I think was named Nibbles or something, who they had to try and make cuter by putting him in a diaper. Well then, how could anyone possibly want to kill a mouse that wears a diaper? You know, eventually he'll grow out of that thing, and he won't be switching to a litter box, if you know what I mean.
And as if the abuse he takes from Jerry isn't enough, they decide to double up on him and throw a dog into the mix. Ugh, this makes me want to cough up a hairball.
You know, as hard as it is to believe, I actually have friends who are dogs, and I think they'd be offended as how one of their kind is portrayed as such a bully in this thing. And it really doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for the dog to befriend the mouse other than to just get on the cat's nerves. It's a whole the enemy of my enemy is my friend crap that has no basic in logic.
By the way, shouldn't this mutt be guarding the house instead of looking to protect its vermin? Congratulations! In the time you spent abusing your fellow house pet, burglars broke into the house on the other side and cleaned the place out. Smooth.
And we haven't even yet talked about the violence in these shorts. From what we hear, a lot of you human adults complain about how cartoons of today desensitize your kids to violence. Well, let me ask you, what are your kids more likely to do? Get into a fighter jet and shoot down monsters? Or hit someone in the face with the first kitchen tool they can find? I guess, though, it is amazing that they've managed to create so many original shorts over the past 70 years. Well, except for the times where the producers blatantly ripped off someone else's work. Yeah, for those who don't know the story, in 1946, Warner Brothers produced a Bugs Bunny short where Bugs is trying to play Hungarian Rhapsody in concert, but is constantly interrupted by a mouse. According to the story, the film processing company mistakenly sent the finished film to MGM instead of Warner. MGM did send the film to Warner, claiming they didn't look at it, and then a few months later, they released a Tom and Jerry short with the exact same story. So yes, one studio stealing from another? Actually a much older practice than you think.
Regardless, Hanna-Barbera and their successors continue to produce cartoons of these two, even though most humans claim the new stuff isn't nearly as good as the originals when Jerry was a complete a-hole and the mistress of the house was a racial joke. This actually included a new series of the two as kids, which a lot of people seem to want our boss to review.
Then there's the full-length animated movie that came out in the early 90s, which we hear some guy who reviews nostalgia already did a number on. And I personally could live with them finally talking, but no points for them having Tom be voiced by Richard Kind.
What do you think I am, a dummy?
You said it.
But overall, speaking from the feline perspective, Tom and Jerry sucks! I guess the animation quality is impressive for a lot of these shorts, as is often the case for cartoons originally made for theaters, and one could say that it's creative to create such high-energy action stories without needing dialogue.
But the bottom line is that these shorts are grossly biased against our species, painting them as antagonists just for doing what they're expected to do as house pets.
I'm Cecil, he's Perkins, and for the National Alliance of Felines, we say, Hark to the Pussycat!